guess, do you pitch these guys, is it going to be a similar atmosphere to what you saw in Game 1 and Game 5 there last year? Or do you imagine it being something totally different when you're up 2-0 going into Game 3?
It's always a great atmosphere in there. So it's going to be very loud, very raucous. They have great fans, and it's going to be a great environment to play a playoff game, and very challenging.
Obviously, Game 2 was the first time Dame had been back for a while. I mean, like, when you watch him, do you kind of expect to see a different version of him once he's kind of gotten through that first game in? And do you imagine
I would expect him to get better and stronger each game, and it was amazing. He played 36 minutes and was a major factor in Game 2. So, I mean, it backs up the adage of never underestimate greatness. And the guy's a problem.
We talked a lot this season about getting off to good starts. What specifically did you notice at the beginning of those two games that your team was prepared and ready from the opening tip?
Well, if you're not excited for a playoff game, in the NBA, I mean, you shouldn't be in this business. And I think, our guys were juiced up for the beginnings of both of those games. I know Milwaukee was too. Our crowd ignited us a little bit. But we're going into a different atmosphere, really an opposite atmosphere. And we're going to have to really focus on process and the things that are the basic things that help us play our best.
Anxious after Game 1, but didn't really get a chance to after Game 2. Now that you've had time to digest film, what are some things that you didn't like in Game 2 that you'd like to improve on in this third game?
I mean, both teams have a lot of things that they can do better. I'm not going to get into specifics, but defensively and on the boards, we got to do better.
Rick, you talk a lot about mentality entering the playoffs and this. You need a certain mindset. Now that you're up 2-0, knowing that they're going to throw everything and just get that first win in the series to get them on the right track, does your guys' mentality change at all?
We need to maintain the sharpest edge that we can have. And as you progress through a playoff series, you just got to work at keeping it very, very sharply focused, regardless of the situation, whether you're up or down. And that's the biggest thing.
Andrew Nembhard, I know you've talked a lot about him the last couple of days. What's the reason why he always shines in these playoffs? He always seems to be bringing us the A+ game.
Loves to compete.
38 and 11 this season when you have the lead after the first quarter. Some would say there's plenty of time and starts could be overrated, but for this team, the start's essential. What did you notice about the starts in the first two games?
I think our energy's been really good. I think feeding off the crowd has been good. Obviously, having home court advantage. But I think our energy's just been right from the jump. We've gotten good looks to start games, and we've knocked them in, the first two games, and have been able to, kind of make runs where they need to make a timeout, call a timeout to, kind of stop the bleeding a little bit. And I think that's been a good recipe for us, seeing as, when we do, like you said, I didn't even know that stat you just told me, but it aligns, it makes sense. And I think late in the year, in the regular season, we weren't getting off to great starts, and that was a point of emphasis coming into the playoffs. So good to see that it's been working in the first couple games, and hopefully we keep it going.
You had the crowd behind you. You will not in Game 3. How do you prepare for that environment?
It's just basketball. I understand it's going to be a hostile environment. It is every time we go to Milwaukee. So that's the fun part of the NBA. When you get to play in front of hostile crowds, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Obviously, you guys haven't been in this situation where you're up 2-0 going somewhere. I mean, do you look at it as the atmosphere is just going to be similar to what you saw in Game 1 and Game 5 there last year? Or do you expect something, maybe not even just from their environment, but just from the situation to be different?
I think it's a new challenge, honestly. I think it's a little different. I mean, the energy in there last year for Game 1, Game 5, like, they had a good crowd. I think it'll be even better. We expect that. Understand, they're fully healthy, and their crowd's gonna, try to will them to a win, and their backs are against the wall right now. So we know we're gonna take a big punch from them. So we gotta be prepared for it, weather the storm, and just be who we are.
Do you have an extra expectation that you're gonna see a different version of Dame in kind of his second game back? I mean, do you look at it and say, okay, well, that was first after missing a month, you're gonna see a different level from him?
Sure. Yeah, and I think as a group we're prepared, and I think just trying to make life as hard as we can on him and all the other guys, as best we can. But yeah, we'll see.
I know last year you were happy you guys didn't slow down pace-wise throughout the postseason. I think after both the first two games, Thomas, the first one, Rick, the last one, said you guys were wanting to play faster than you did. What have you thought of your pace so far, and how can you guys up that tempo?
Yeah, I think there's still another level for us to go. In all honesty, I think late in games, you're seeing them play a lot more switchable lineups. Sometimes we're trying to get into our sets, and by getting into our sets, I might be walking the ball up a little slower than usual, trying to get everybody in the right position. But I think we're best in chaos, best in random. So we got to do a better job of getting that, and that starts with me, as well as through the course of a game. There's a lot of times where maybe there's a missed call or a conversation with a ref where you're in that conversation and you could be taking the ball out and just going back. So we got to do a better job, and that starts with me. I got to do a better job of keeping pace in the game, and me and RC talk all the time. So understand that's definitely an area for us to improve. As we head to Milwaukee.
Ty, a couple times now, the last couple of years, you've played in Milwaukee. Oshkosh North is close to there. How cool is that just for you every time you go up there, especially for the playoffs?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. But I'm from Oshkosh,
right.
So it's not quite home, but I think when I was like early in the NBA, it was always like everybody from Oshkosh would come out, and I knew they would cheer for me. I don't really think that's the case anymore. I think a couple, like more of my close friends, they're cheered for me, but there's definitely some high school classmates that ain't rocking with me these days. So I think that's all the fun about it. That's why we love sports. It makes it fun. I obviously don't get time to go to Oshkosh in the middle of the series or anything, but it's cool to see, my family, cool to see some friends, and, I definitely appreciate being able to see everybody.
We see you guys react during games, but there was a video of all the bench reactions for all the craziness. What's it like when you can probably both answer this. What's it like when you're supporting your teammates, and just what's that vibe like on that bench?
I mean, anytime you have a chance to support the guy next to you or the five guys out there, I think that's really big. And guy 1 through 15 has supported each other, and that's what a together team looks like.
I know you're resting when you're on the bench, but you're also having a lot of fun watching your teammates and supporting them.
No doubt. I think just for me, especially being out there, not being able to play last year, just having a lot of fun. You know what I'm saying, and just taking the whole moment and having fun with it, enjoying it, and learning from the experience. It's first of many playoffs for me, so super excited.
I think you said last week you could not wait to breathe the playoff air. How would you sort of evaluate what that air was like and the experience of the first two games?
It's been fun. It's been fun so far. I feel like it's fun when you win a lot of games. You know what I'm saying? So, I feel like the main thing for us is keep winning, keeping the game simple, and taking care of business.
You guys have obviously played road games there before in the playoffs. Did it last year, I guess, but it's obviously a different scenario going in up 2-0. For Game 3. What do you look at and say, okay, this is going to be similar to Game 5 or Game 1 last year? Or what do you look at and say this is going to be different because of the situation they're in?
It's just going to be a really hostile environment. They have a great crowd, and they play well at home, and we have to expect that. We have to come ready on both ends and expect an amazing crowd and expect to get their best punch, and we have to be ready.
Does the mentality change at all going up 2-0 when they're going to throw everything at you guys, maybe more so than usual?
No, I don't think the mentality needs to change here, and it hasn't changed. We have to stay hungry, we have to stay aggressive, and we have to stay together.
I interviewed Jim at halftime, and he was lamenting some of the open three-point looks they got. They were number 1 in the league in three-point percentage in the regular season. Is that something that everyone's cognizant of, to not let them get those looks in the perimeter defense angle?
Yeah, we're smart enough to know that we're not going to take away threes completely, but we have to limit the catch and shoot wide open ones as best as we can. So we try to make some adjustments and make it a little bit harder for them to get shots off.
Anything you could add on that? Perimeter defense taking away their threes?
No doubt. Going to those games, it's pretty much just knowing what we did right and doing the same thing again. We know it's not going to be easy for us to go to Milwaukee and win a game or win both games. So just going out there and taking care of business, control what we can control, and, the rest will take care of itself.
Ben, between moving on the perimeter and cutting, you've had a pretty sizable off-ball role this series so far. How have you kind of approached that, and how have you feel you've done with those roles?
I mean, playing like guys like TJ is really, really unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't get to touch the ball as much. No, I just. I mean, it's funny. You know, I feel like it's another area of my game where I can, you know, expand my game a little bit more depending on the role I got. I've been pretty much, you know, ball dominant my whole life. So just playing with guys like TJ, who always try and get me going, is great because, you know, I get to learn from that experience, and I get to grow as a player as well.
Is that a compliment?
Nah, don't.
Mike,
next question.
send me that clip, please.
Next question.
TJ, these bench strips see zone a lot. You guys struggled with the Bucks zone in December. How do you like what you guys have done against it this series so far?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we kind of just passed the ball around and stood, and I think that plays a lot into their hands. And we just got to get movement and get people to the right spots, and we have, and we got to continue to do that.
And how impressive has Drew been in the postseason for another year?
Good, man. It's good. Very good. For me, I always expected. You know, I always expect more of my teammates all the time. So to see him play well, and you know, I wish he can keep it going. And as long as we keep winning, that's the most important thing. So.
Ben, I'm doing a story on Pascal. I know he's a guy that you, especially on his leadership, I know he's a guy that's you've worked with a lot. He's been a little bit of a mentor for you. I mean, how has he sort of helped your development? What are some things that you've been able to learn from him in the time he's been here?
He's been amazing. You know, he's been great, and you know, for the short amount of time that I played with him, you know, I was able to learn a lot. You know, hopefully we have more time together. So to keep learning and to keep playing together, I think he's been amazing. He's been a great leader, and he's been winning a lot of games. So in the playoffs, so that's what I want to achieve. You know, in my career, and you know, looking back at it, he's been pretty helpful.
Thank you, guys.